Today, we are taking a really fascinating look at something almost everyone tries, but, well, not everyone masters. Language acquisition. Specifically, we're diving deep into the most effective ways to learn English. How to make the process consistent, genuinely effective, and maybe most importantly, actually fun.
Yeah, the sources we looked at for this deep dive are pretty excellent, I have to say. They go way beyond the usual study tips.
Yeah.
These aren't dry textbooks at all. Think of them more like a practical guide, really designed for you, the listener, who's curious but wants to skip the information overload. Maybe avoid those academic traps that can stop progress dead in its tracks.
Absolutely. So our mission today is basically to distill that core philosophy, the mindset you kind of need to adopt and pull out the most powerful daily habits.
That's small things that add up.
Exactly. We want to show you how even pretty minimal targeted effort, sometimes just 10 or 15 minutes a day, can actually compound into real fluency. Okay, let's unpack this. Where do we start? The foundation.
Right at the foundation. To really succeed, you have to manage expectations. And the sources, they really nail this by setting out 3 necessary truths right up front.
Okay.
The first one, it's non-negotiable. Language learning takes time, period. Fluency isn't something that happens overnight. It's a long journey, really, built on hundreds and hundreds of small steps. Just accepting that takes off that crushing pressure for instant perfection,
Yeah, that makes sense. And the second truth, this one feels quite liberating, actually. Mistakes are necessary for improvement.
Totally necessary.
They're literally the data points your brain uses to, course correct. They're not failures. They're just evidence you're pushing your boundaries.
If you're not making mistakes, you're probably playing it too safe.
And not learning very efficiently, right?
Exactly. And that ties really nicely into the third truth. Learning has to be enjoyable. If you force yourself through, miserable, grueling study sessions, your brain starts to associate the language with pain. And guess what? You'll quit.
Yeah, inevitably.
The sources really emphasize finding ways to weave English into your hobbies, your interests. It's critical for sticking with it long term.
Speaking of sticking with it, consistency. That seems to be where the real magic happens. What's fascinating in the sources is the sheer power of that consistency over, say, intensity.
Oh, hugely.
They use this great analogy. Studying English is like going to the gym. Why does doing 15 minutes every single day actually beat a 4-hour marathon session just once a week?
Well, it's rooted in cognitive psychology. You've got the spacing effect and memory consolidation.
Okay.
When you practice briefly and regularly, you're tapping into the brain's natural way of storing information during breaks, and especially during sleep. That continuous kind of light exposure lets information move from short-term working memory into long-term storage.
Right.
Whereas an irregular, super intense session, it just exhausts your working memory. It doesn't give the brain the time it needs to actually consolidate the learning properly.
That makes perfect sense. Short, consistent efforts build the structure, and the sources give us a framework for this, don't they? The 4 pillars of using your time well. Input, output, correction, and rest.
That's the core structure.
Okay, let's tackle input first. That's basically everything you read or listen to, right?
Right. And the biggest takeaway for input is focusing on what they call comprehensible input, stuff you can mostly understand, but crucially, stuff that genuinely interests you.
Not just learning material.
Exactly. That old method of just wading through a dictionary or forcing yourself to read some boring classic novel just because it's in English, it creates huge resistance.
Yeah, been there.
The sources say, if you love Formula One racing, read articles about F1 in English. Your passion for the topic itself will pull you through the tricky language bits.
Totally. When it feels like fun, you just naturally spend more time doing it. Okay, let's move to output then. This is where I think many learners kind of seize up.
Yeah, the speaking and writing.
The real test of what you know.
Output is where the connections really get forged. If input fills the tank, output drives the car.
Good analogy.
Even describing simple things out loud, what you had for lunch, a quick summary of a video you just watched, maybe writing a short paragraph each day. That process of producing the language is what turns passive recognition into active use. You're literally building new neural pathways for speech.
Okay, so input, output. Then the third pillar is correction. We need feedback. But what if I'm practicing speaking alone? Or maybe I'm just nervous about asking native speakers for help. How do I avoid, cementing bad habits? That's a common worry.
That is a vital question, and the sources are very clear. Feedback needs to be helpful and targeted. It shouldn't be discouraging.
Right.
Now, finding a supportive language partner is ideal, of course. And remember, it should be a give and take. You help them too. But the best immediate tool, it's self-correction.
How does that work?
The advice is actually brilliant. Record yourself speaking, even just for 60 seconds. Then listen back later.
Oh, interesting.
You'll hear the stumbles, the unnatural intonation, maybe grammatical errors that you just don't feel yourself making in the moment. That self-review becomes your first feedback loop.
So your phone becomes your own, non-judgmental language coach. I like that. And finally, the fourth pillar, the one we often forget because it feels passive, rest.
Rest is where the learning actually gets cemented. We mentioned memory consolidation during sleep already, but even short, focused breaks during a study session are essential.
Oh.
If you try to just power through for 2 hours straight, your learning curve actually diminishes. Regular, short practice periods with proper rest in between are way better than studying to exhaustion.
Got it. So this framework, input, output, correction, rest, that's the strategy. Now let's talk specifics. Those small actions we can plug into these pillars, tips that integrate English into your actual life, not just study time.
Yeah, let's focus on making it enjoyable and, automatic. One key tip they mentioned is household labeling.
Sticky.
Exactly. Using sticky notes on things around your house, refrigerator, chair, window, it works because it bypasses the need to translate in your head. You start associating the English word directly with the object. It's passive exposure all day long.
Simple, but pretty brilliant. Another crucial one relates back to input, smart video use. The sources recommend this great tiered approach for watching new stuff, like a YouTube channel you like or a short documentary.
Yeah, this is the stair-step approach to understanding. Step 1, watch the whole thing with subtitles in your native language. Just focus on getting the main ideas, the storyline. It reduces the overall mental effort.
Okay.
Step 2, watch it again, but this time switch to English subtitles. Now your brain is connecting the sounds to the written words. Step 3, watch it one last time with no subtitles at all. Push your brain to rely just on listening. And the key is you only move up a step when you feel comfortable.
I love that. It turns just watching something into structured practice.
Yeah.
Okay, and for output. The sources keep coming back to this essential advice. Practice speaking daily. We know it's tough. People get shy.
So the best place to start is often alone.
Right.
Exactly. This trains what's called motor memory. Narrate your routine out loud as you do it. Okay, now I'm making coffee. Plan your shopping list out loud. Talk about your day.
Why is that so critical, though, just talking to yourself?
Because it trains your mouth muscles. And it trains your brain to structure sentences in English without that frustrating delay of translating everything from your native language first. You actually start thinking in English.
Okay, that's huge. Now, let's tackle that common struggle.
Yeah.
You understand English pretty well when you read or listen, but when you try to speak, it just doesn't come out fluently. It's like a bottleneck.
Definitely a bottleneck. The sources offer a specific technique toolbox to help overcome this.
Ah, good.
This is where we shift from mindset more into method. They offer 5 specific practical techniques to boost speaking fluency. The first one is called shadowing.
Shadowing. Okay, I've heard of this. It sounds intense.
Yeah.
You listen to a short bit of audio, maybe just a sentence or two, and you repeat it immediately.
Immediately. Trying to match the speaker's exact speed, their intonation, the rhythm, you're literally mimicking their sound like a shadow. The insight here is you're training your mouth and your ear at the same time. You're not focused on grammar rules. You're focused on the music of the language. This improves pronunciation and rhythm much faster, usually, than just reading aloud.
Okay, shadowing. And to make that flow more natural, they talk about chunking, right? This seems key for fluency.
Absolutely key. Instead of practicing single words, you practice groups of words that naturally belong together. Things like, I'm looking forward to, or that's a good point, or could you tell me?
Learning phrases, not just words.
Exactly. Chunking is fluency, essentially. When you learn those word groups as single units, you bypass the need to constantly construct grammar in your head while you're talking. Your mouth just pulls out the pre-assembled unit. That lets you speak much faster and, frankly, more naturally, more like a native speaker.
Right. Okay. And what if listening is the main hurdle? Maybe native speech just sounds too fast.
Then the sources recommend slow listening. Use the speed controls on your apps. YouTube, podcast players, they all have them.
Ah, the 0.75x speed setting.
Exactly. Or even 0.5x if you need to. Slow it down. Reduce the cognitive load. Get comfortable understanding it at that slower speed. And then gradually, almost without noticing, increase the speed back towards normal over days or weeks. It's a really gentle way to train your ear without feeling totally overwhelmed.
That's a great practical tip. Okay, so you've done your listening, maybe slowed down. Now you need context for your own output. That brings us to scripted practice.
Right. This involves creating and practicing simple, real-life dialogues. Think about situations you actually encounter or expect to encounter.
Like introducing yourself.
Perfect example. Or checking into a hotel, ordering coffee, asking for directions. Write out these short scripts and then practice them. Say them out loud till they feel completely automatic, totally natural. It builds huge confidence for when you face those situations for real.
Okay. And my favorite technique name from the list has to be microspeaking. Sounds less intimidating.
It is. Microspeaking is brilliant because it lowers the anxiety barrier. These are tiny, bite-sized speaking tasks.
Like what?
Maybe you summarize the last movie you watched in exactly one sentence. Or describe the physical object you're holding right now. The task is super low stakes. Takes maybe under a minute, but it proves to yourself you can produce language daily without the pressure of a full-blown conversation.
Those are some great techniques. Moving beyond just the techniques, let's talk about specific tools mentioned in the sources that you can plug into those 4 pillars we talked about.
Sure. For reading or input, look into graded readers. We mentioned matching content to interests, which is great, but if your vocabulary is still quite low, graded readers are fantastic.
How are they different from regular books?
They're books written specifically for different language levels, A1, A2, B1, etc. They use a controlled vocabulary and simpler grammar. This limits how much new stuff you encounter at once, meaning you can focus on actually understanding and enjoying the story without constantly stopping to look up words in a dictionary.
That sounds much less frustrating. And for vocabulary building itself, the single most efficient tool they mention seems to be an spaced repetition system, or SRS. They say it's almost a must-have for memory work.
Yeah, an SRS basically maximizes your retention efficiency. It's clever software. Instead of you just randomly reviewing words, the algorithm figures out the exact moment you're about to forget an item.
Uh-huh.
And it shows it to you right then, just before you forget it. This maximizes the time between reviews, but makes sure the word gets pushed effectively into your long-term memory. It works with your brain's forgetting curve, not against it.
Smart.
Oh, and a quick note on vocabulary notebooks. The advice is to write down full sentences using the new word, not just the single word itself.
Why is that?
Because it ensures you learn the grammar, the context, how the word actually fits with other words right from the start. Much more useful.
Good point. Okay, this all kind of feeds into the suggested one-week plan structure they outlined, doesn't it? Integrating those 4 pillars into something balanced and manageable.
Exactly. The sources really emphasize balance and consistency in the plan. So, for example, day 1 might be a bit heavier on input.
All right.
Maybe 20 minutes listening to that YouTube video you like, plus doing some shadowing for a short paragraph.
Okay.
Then day 3 might shift the focus more to output and correction. Maybe 15 minutes of practicing one of those scripts you wrote, followed by doing that 1-minute self-recording and listening back.
And what about day 7?
Day 7 is wisely reserved for pure rest and fun. No forced study. Just enjoy a movie in English, listen to music, read something light. It's about rewarding yourself for the week's effort, too.
I like that. The key, though, is that every day addresses at least a couple of the pillars, right? Even if it's only for 5 or 10 minutes each.
That's the consistency principle in action.
Okay, before we wrap up, we really need to touch on the emotional side of things. Specifically, that big roadblock, the fear of having an accent.
Oh, yeah, this stops so many learners in their tracks.
Yeah.
The sources offer really powerful advice here. Clarity matters far, far more than sounding exactly like a native speaker.
That's reassuring.
It should be. Focus on being understandable. Don't chase some impossible ideal of perfect mimicry. Celebrate your unique voice. And instead of trying to fix your entire accent at once, which is overwhelming, maybe just target one small pronunciation challenge, one sound you struggle with at a time.
Small, manageable steps again. And what about motivation? The sources advise against setting those huge, vague goals like, I'll be fluent in 6 months. Right.
Right. That's often a recipe for burnout because it's hard to measure progress against such a big goal.
So what's the alternative?
Set short-term, clear, measurable targets. Like, this month I want to be able to comfortably introduce myself and talk about my job without hesitating. Or maybe I want to understand 70% of this short podcast episode on my favorite topic. Small wins build unstoppable momentum.
Small wins. I like that. And finally, when the nerves really hit that moment right before you actually have to start a conversation in English, the sources offer this brilliant, simple routine, the 60-second encouragement warm-up.
Yes. This is designed to calm anxiety and just prime your mind and mouth for success.
How does it work? Can we walk through it quickly?
Sure. Step 1. Take 3 deep, slow breaths right down into your belly. This immediately helps lower your heart rate.
Okay, deep breaths.
Step 2. Smile. Actually smile. Physically doing it changes your vocal cords slightly, boosts your confidence hormones, and often makes your voice sound warmer, more welcoming.
Interesting. Step 3.
Say a positive, brief sentence to yourself. Something simple like, I can do this, or clarity is my only goal, or it's okay to make mistakes.
Got it. Positive self-talk.
Step 4. A quick mouth warm-up, like repeating la 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 or ba ba ba, maybe a simple tongue twister. This just gets the mouth muscles ready for the potentially unfamiliar sounds of English.
Loosens things up.
Exactly. And the final step, 5. Quickly practice, maybe just in your head or whisper, the first 1 or 2 sentences you plan to use in the conversation.
Preloading the start.
Right. It reduces that initial fear of just getting started. That whole routine takes less than a minute, but it can dramatically shift your mental state from panic to prepared.
That is a fantastic practical tool to have in your pocket. Okay, so to sort of summarize all this incredibly actionable advice, the sources really leave you with 3 non-negotiable, small daily habits that, if you practice them consistently, are meant to produce massive results over time.
That's right. They boil it down to this. 1, listen for just 10 minutes every single day to something in English that you genuinely enjoy. Music, podcasts, videos, whatever.
10 minutes listening. Okay.
2, speak for 5 minutes every day. Even if it's just narrating your actions to yourself, doing that micro-speaking practice, or practicing a script, just 5 minutes of output.
5 minutes speak. And the third.
3, write 1 short sentence each day. Just 1. But make sure you use a new word or phrase that you recently learned or encountered. Embeds it actively.
Listen 10, speak 5, write 1 sentence. That feels doable.
That's the daily foundation.
Okay. And here's our final thought for you, drawing directly from the source material. Remember that language learning is a deeply personal journey of discovery. It's so important not to compare your beginning, where you might be struggling to form basic sentences, to someone else's middle, where they might seem comfortable and fluent already.
Comparison is the thief of joy, right?
Exactly. Focus only on your own steady, hopefully enjoyable, and consistent progress, because ultimately those small, well-placed daily actions are the only thing that truly creates lasting, fluent change.